welcome back to my YouTube channel. If it's working, make sure to let me know. I was going to say I had problems with my mic last time, but my mic's not even plugged in, so I should probably do that. But the 49ers just drafted Alfred Collins, and I wanted to bring you guys that breaking news. They drafted him in round 2 with pick 43, and just to get ahead of it, I give this pick an A. Let me know once again in the comments if you guys can hear me well. But you stop the run, you have fun. That's what Robert Saleh used to say when he was in his first term as defensive coordinator with the 49ers. Since then, he left. The 49ers continue to have a top 5 defense under DeMeco Ryans. And then the last, 2 years, it is absolutely plummeted. They've always struggled with stopping the run, though. And they're not going to struggle with stopping the run anymore. I really love these their first round pick and their second round pick together. They're addressing areas of needs. We wanted them to do trenches. Obviously, I still want them to go O-line, but they needed to fix that defensive line. They didn't have, very many starters. They let a ton of guys go in free agency this year. They had always kind of filled in that defensive line with 1-year stopgap guys. They've been looking for a guy on the other side of Nick Bosa. They've been looking for production on the offensive line. They're in a division with Kyler Murray. The Eagles just won the Super Bowl. You need to be able to stop running quarterbacks. You need to be able to stop running backs. I mean, there's elite running backs, Saquon Barkley, all over the NFL. 49ers, think about how they want to beat teams. They want to run it down your throat with Christian McCaffrey, but they can't stop a Christian McCaffrey. So they needed to invest in the D-line. They got 2 big body guys, and I give this I'm really happy. Felt like last year, I really wanted them to address offensive tackle, and in the draft, it felt like the 49ers didn't know what their needs were. Like when they went wide receiver, it was just like, at the time, Ayuk was still healthy. They had Deebo Samuel. And it was just like, you went wide receiver with number 1. Like, you don't know what your own team needs. These 2 picks tell me that the 49ers understand what they need to improve on. Now, once again, also O-line. But I love that they're addressing their biggest weakness, which is not only, trenches in the D-line in general, but specifically stopping the run. Because even Nick Bosa, who's an elite player, how do you get around Nick Bosa? You run at him. How did the Cardinals beat the 49ers? Both times. Both times they ran Kyler Murray at him. They ran, I forget the little running back's name, but the running back with Kyler Murray at him. So if the 49ers face a team right now that either A, has a mobile quarterback, or B, has a good running back and mobile quarterback, they've been screwed. Right now, you have these young guys, by the way, like I said, Mikael Williams, 20, the first round pick. This guy's 23, so you're getting younger. So these guys, if they are good, you definitely want to look to sign them for their second contracts, so they're still going to be in the prime of their career. Major production. But yeah, like I said, I just like that it feels like the 49ers understand what their needs are, and they're addressing them. I like that they've kind of James Conner. Thank you, Mr. Corey. But I like that's the Cardinals beat the 49ers by running Kyler Murray at Nick Bosa. And then when Nick Bosa ended up stopping, because I need to breathe. I got excited. The issue with some defensive linemen is they're so on the hunt for sacks that you can end up running past the quarterback. You can end up selling all out to sack the quarterback, and you can miss the running back, or you can miss the quarterback and you're not just corralling him. And obviously you need to get both. Sacks are extremely important. If you want to, end up being a all-pro player, a defensive player of the year guy, you need to also get the sack production. But pressures and stopping the run has been where the 49ers have struggled. They have Nick Bosa. He's great at getting those sacks. But on the other side of him, when Nick Bosa is creating pressure, he can't get this. No one else has been able to get the sacks, and no one else has been able to get pressure. So Nick Bosa can't get the sacks. Now you have 2 huge, big body guys on that defensive line with Nick Bosa. I love this. But let's hone in on Alfred Collins, because that's the guy that they just picked. Like I said, stopping the run was their biggest weakness. I like that Robert Saleh is attacking that. This guy is massive. He's 23 years old, but he does not, similar to Mikael Williams, he is an NFL body already. When he gets off the bus, coming into training camp, you're going to go, that is a hell of a dude. He, at the combine, so these are his combine stats. He was 6'6", 332 pounds. So that's the same height as Malik, their edge that they just drafted, but 55 more pounds on his frame. A huge guy. Per PFF, he was graded as the 5th highest defensive tackle in the draft. Walter Nolan is a name that was ahead of him, but getting the 5th best guy in the middle of round 2 is incredible value. He has length, athleticism, size, 35-inch arms. That's Alden Smith arms, huge, long arms, 10-inch hands. I think the best part is he's going to be a good fit in the wide 9. A lot of times the 49ers have gone after smaller body guys because they do like to be able to have a lot of agility on their defensive line and on their O-line. If you think about like Trent Williams, he's obviously huge, but his biggest asset is the fact that even though he's huge, he can like run to the other side of the and get the opposing defense off balance. These guys are very similar. They're agile, they're athletic, they've tested well, but they're huge and they're going to impose their will. Mr. Corey says, and I love this, this line was small and weak last year, tiny Malik Collins and Leonard Floyd. So, and Julie, I agree. I'll get to your comment in a second. I do think that Robert Saleh, I don't know if it was they wanted him to be the defensive coordinator here so badly, they promised him the first 2 picks, or if it just their board ended up turning out that way. I think it's possible that they had Kelvin Banks for in their number 11 draft category, but then once he went, they were like, okay. Now they did say that it was Malik Williams the entire time, so maybe they had just promised Robert Saleh or thought that these were the best guys. They've talked to both of them in person. They've obviously think highly of these guys and had great production in college, and then also when they had their in-person meetings. So like I said, great fit for the wide 9. Now, I don't know, depending on how you feel about this, when where was this? In his projection on the big board was to go a little bit later in round 2, and his body comp was compared to Javon Kinlaw. Some people might look at that and get nervous because obviously Javon Kinlaw did not pan out, but Javon Kinlaw didn't pan out because of his injury history, not because of his body type. And, he's still in the NFL playing now, but the reason that he didn't produce for the 49ers and ended up not being a good pick for the 49ers was all about his knee. It wasn't about his actual skill set, and his body type would have been perfect. And you can see that Robert Saleh, who was here when they drafted Kinlaw, this is obviously a body type that he goes after. But when we look at Alfred Collins, like I said, he was at Texas, excellent pick. Comparing him to Javon Kinlaw, though, let's go look at his previous games just to see how much he's played, because I believe that these paint a track record that he doesn't have injury history and he plays in games. I'm sure he gets a little, nicks and bruises. We heard our first round pick was playing through a whole ankle. So I'm not saying he's not injured at all, but he gets on the field, he plays through things, and he plays through games, and he's been mostly healthy throughout his college career. So in 2020, he played 10 games. In 2021, he played 12 games. In 2022, he played 12 games. In 2023, he played 14 games. And in 2024, last season, he played 16 games. In just the last season alone, so just 2024, he had 55 tackles, 5.5 tackles for loss, 1 sack, 7 pass breakups, a forced fumble, and a block kick. He was voted second team All-Pro. I mean, I just think this guy is going to be an immediate starter, an immediate impact player on our team. Getting 2 players that can stop the run automatically makes our team better. Automatically. These are things that the 49ers did not have, players that the 49ers did not have. I absolutely love it. Okay, so those were my initial notes. Let's look through some other stuff just to okay, so like I said, PFF, he was graded the 5th highest defensive tackle in this draft class. Number 1 was Walter Nolan. Then there was Alexander. Why does this guy have Walter Nolan on here twice? Walter Nolan on here twice? Was he the 5th, or did someone fuck up? Anyways, He was graded a 87.2, which is an excellent grade by PFF in this last draft class. I'm really excited about this guy. Let's see if there's any quotes really quick by Lance Zierlein, a NFL analysis scouting report. Collins might not stand out in one particular area, but he plays hard and has outstanding physical traits to blend right into the NFL as a defensive into a defensive line rotation. He's quick laterally to spoil landmarks for zone blockers. He has stride length to disrupt upfield if asked. He added mass in 2024 and was harder to move when his pad level was right, but he can be tardy to shed blocks and tackle over the gap. So he might hang on for a little bit too long. He's 23. He can work on that. He has the traits to become a very consistent NFL pass rusher, but the production is still untapped. He is not a premier playmaker, but he has the size, talent, and alignment versatility to help fortify a defensive front. And I could see him as an early contributor and future starter. He's projected to go in the second round. And Lance Zierlein's player comp for him, like I said, was Javon Kinlaw. Okay, let's see. So that was the Lance Zierlein of NFL Network. This is Pro Football Focus. Collins is a former 5-star recruit from Texas, where he competed in football, basketball, and track. So, an all-around athlete. As a true freshman in college, he played 10 games, continued for most of his career on the Longhorns. He became a full-time starter and made a positive presence on the Longhorns 2024 season at 6'5", 315 to 330, depending on, like they said, he put on weight. So 315 in the combine, I think he was 330. Let me double check that. Combine, he was 332. So he put on 17 pounds. But at 6'6", 315 to 335 pounds, Collins profiles more as an interior defensive lineman than an edge. That's fine. We just drafted our edge. We want him to be a D tackle. He has good length for an interior player, paired with a strong upper body and powerful hands that allow him to dictate, sack, and shed moves, fight through double teams. However, his height and length also present challenges as he naturally struggles to get leverage. So the other guy kind of said that when he has his body down, he's really great, but he still needs practice at it. Biggest drawback is he can be slow to disengage and shed blockers, but with his urgency and positive character, according to Longhorns, nothing sways me from thinking that he will be a full-time starter in the NFL. So that was from Pro Football Focus and his draft profile there. I love that. Now, I'm being very positive, so to give you both perspectives, 49er or SF Data 49ers did tweet out that the 49ers selected him with the 43rd overall pick, and he was taken 20 spots higher than the consensus big board ranking, according to Dane Brugler's big board. Dane Brugler is a huge draft guy. He had him going around 63. So could be a little bit of a reach. I don't think so. I think the 49ers needed an edge. They got the edge in the first round. They needed a D tackle. This guy is very young. He tested extremely well at the combine. He has the athletic gifts and apparently a good mentality that I think, once again, kind of similar to what we said yesterday with their first round pick, he can develop to be even greater with having Robert Saleh, Chris Kocurek, and Nick Bosa. This guy seems a little, maybe even more ready. And I'm not too worried about the pad level thing. I think a lot of guys tall guys, the pad level can be an issue. I remember for Javon Kinlaw, that was an issue, but the reason that it was an issue was because of his knee. Like, you can learn to squat and hold that squat higher or for longer. That's something that you can teach a player as long as they're healthy, and this guy has a history of being healthy. Jeff Deeney, PFF, says the 49ers new D tackle Alfred Collins had a 87.2 overall grade last year at Texas, including an 85 versus the runs. Including 85 versus the run with 21 run stops. Collins had just 2 missed tackles all season. Love to see that. So you're not going to see him reaching for a guy and missing, or reaching for a guy and falling over. Does this mean, including 85 versus the run, so 85 attempts at stopping the run, maybe that means 21 run stops and just 2 missed tackles all season? I like this. Okay, I don't know if I took a breath for the last 16 minutes. I was giving you guys a lot of information there. But so far I like this. I don't know what pick the NFL is on now. The 49ers are going, someone just tagged me in something. Some film. Can I play this on here? This is just his highlights. This is just his highlights. Someone tagged me in. But everyone, I have heard you should go watch Texas versus Georgia. He was an all-star in that game. And Texas versus Arkansas, I think, as well, were 2 big games for him. Now, the 49ers, they still have some needs. I want them to look at O-line. Offensive tackle would be great. I think they have a need at running back, depending on how much you what faith you have in Christian McCaffrey. They need a linebacker because they don't have Dre Greenlaw, depending on how much faith you have in D. Winters. I still think even if you have faith in D. Winters, that they should probably go out and get O-line. So do they need a wide receiver? Maybe. I think they need another pass catcher. It could be wide receiver or tight end. I was thinking they were going to go tight end earlier, but I'm glad they haven't. They got 9 more picks. They got 2 more today. They have the very last pick of the draft today at the end of round 3, but they have 1 more coming up in a couple, or in like an hour, I think, depending on what pick we're in right now. Julie says, thanks. Don't forget to like and subscribe. Thank you so much, Julie. So their next pick is at 75, and then they have the very last pick of today after that. So 2 more picks. I liked the UCLA linebacker that ended up going to. Did the Browns get him? The very start of the second round. I liked him. So I don't know. I would hope within the next 2 picks that they probably address the offensive line, unless there's a really great running back. But I think you wait and you do running back in round 3, just because the 49ers have a bad history of running backs in round 3. So I'd get running back in round 4, day 3. And I would go somewhere on the O-line and maybe linebacker with these next 2 picks, depending on who's on the board. Let me read you some names. Sorry for singing there. Okay, a wide receiver. These are some players that I think would be positive to land. Wide receiver, Nolan. Tackle, Flannan. Tight end, Flannan. Tackle, Grant. Interior O-line, Mibu? I don't know how to pronounce things. Interior D-line, Norman Lott. Edge, Stewart. Cornerback, Morrison. Did the really good cornerback that was supposed to go, but then his knee apparently is like horrible, because he was supposedly like the best cornerback in the draft, and he is still dropping. Did he already go? Did he go in the last 16 minutes I've been live? Safety, Watts, I think is good. I'm assuming other good names will be gone, but I'm really excited about the first 2 picks. Oh, okay, I'll read some of your guys' comments. He went to Arizona. Oh, wait, no way. Arizona took Will. Oh, sorry. What's up? What's going on with him and his leg? That's crazy. I thought he was gonna go, in the top like 15 picks, and then he really fell. Hold on, I wanna look up. My whole timeline is 49er people, so I can't see. What did the Ravens just do? Ravens getting defensive players. Of course they are. We love that for them. Jaguars are being stupid. We know that. Okay, I'll stop looking at my phone. Oh, lineman. No, guard. Ooh, guard to the Lions. I wonder if the Lions are going to be good this year now that Ben Johnson isn't there. They obviously have a ton of talent still on their offense, but I don't know how much confidence I have in Jared Goff. Okay. Hey, Ashley. Hi, Niner fans. Hey, thanks for watching. Sanders is still on the board, dead face. I don't know. I feel bad. Maybe he doesn't have, a first-round skill set, and he should have just never been in the conversation. But I do think there is something about people not liking quarterbacks in general, but specifically Black quarterbacks who are confident. And he has Deion Sanders at his dad. He's I think he's flashy, dresses flashy. He walks in a room and he's probably bordering on the cocky, but I think it's probably, I don't know if it's actually cocky or if he's confident, but because people want to see Black men humbled and they don't like Black quarterbacks, like that's just, we have to be honest. There is a bias against Black quarterbacks in the NFL. Lamar Jackson is still fighting through that right now. I feel like they're always kind of seen as lesser and they have to win the MVP, 4 times in a row to get any credit. So I don't know. I feel kind of bad that he is falling so much. And you see other guys who've, I don't know what I'm allowed to say on YouTube, but like women or their family members, and, they still go and they're still taken. But because a guy is, full of himself, he has some too much confidence. I don't know. I think he should have confidence. He went to 2 organizations that sucked, completely turned them around and made them incredible college champions. I'd be confident if that was me. Now, to be fair, I've heard he doesn't have that strong of an arm. So maybe he was always a 3rd-round talent and maybe he's not actually falling. Maybe it was like because he has the Sanders last name, there was this hype that, he's going to go number 1, and maybe he should have or not number 1, but in the first round. And maybe he should have never had that hype around him and he's not actually falling. That's possible too. But I don't think Jackson Dart is better than him. But maybe I'm wrong. Or Kyle, whatever, the one that just went to the Saints. I'm not saying he's bad, but that guy's as old as Luka Doncic. That guy is 26. So, maybe he played really well his last year, but he's going against 18-year-olds and he's 26. Sanders is at least, a reasonable age. I don't know. Maybe I'm being a hater. But I want to go through some of the comments and talk about the Alfred Collins pick and about what the 49ers should do next. I don't want to talk too much about quarterbacks. 49er pokers. I can only watch a minute, but I just wanted to say Saleh wants to stop the run so that he can rush the pass in obvious situations. With Bosa, Collins, Williams, they should be able to do that. I agree. That's why I said I love this. From Saleh's first stint with the 49ers, they used to have a saying that they said at practice, and it was stop the run, you can have fun. I feel like they're really digging in on, fixing their biggest weakness on defense. That was stopping the run. That's been a problem for them for not just like the last couple years, even when they had a top 5 defense with DeMeco Ryans. Honestly, ever since they got rid of DJ Jones, it's been an issue for them, and it's been something they tried to solve. That's why they went out and drafted before DJ Jones. They drafted Javon Kinlaw. He just never panned out because of his knee, but because they needed a big body in the run, stopping the run. Nick Bosa, that's not his main objective. You want to have people who have different skill sets on their D-line. And right now, I love what I'm seeing. If they pan out, of course, we don't know if what happens in college translates, but I would hope it does. Okay. I keep going defense in the draft. No one picked this late is playing offense with talent. With the talent the 49ers already have. I don't know. They got Pooney in the 3rd round last year, right? So I definitely think you can go guard. You can get a good guard here. We have Israel that says protect Purdy. Oh, will you let me click on this? Thank you. Protect Purdy. O-line, please. Julie B says I would go offensive line. Yeah, I think so far Pooney has panned out well for us, and he was the third round pick. Now, can they get an impact starter offensive tackle? They might have more guards. I think there was more guards in general in this draft. Everyone was worried about the short arms. That makes you a guard. If you have short arms, you can't be a tackle, because if you're going against Myles Garrett and he just goes like this and you have short arms, he's automatically going to win, because even if you have the best moves ever, because you just can't reach him. Little T-Rex arms. So, yeah, I'm just saying that I'm not against going O-line, but obviously you don't want to reach for someone if there's a better line. Like if there's a linebacker available and he's more talented, he's a better linebacker and there's an offensive guard available, but he's not as good of an offensive guard, then go with the better player. But if there's a really good offensive guard available, I would take them. I would do that. Jonathan Pierman, I love how you already I love it. Now you already know Kyle wants an offensive playmaker. He always drafts an RB or running back in the 2nd or 3rd. He did go on KMBR yesterday, and they asked him, do you think that you're going to go running back 4th round or 3rd round? Because he already said that they were going to draft a running back in this draft. There's a lot of depth at running back, and they need running backs right now because Chris McCaffrey is not reliable, and they have Chris McCaffrey and I feel bad. I'm blanking on his name. Someone in the comments, let me know. Working out with Ricky Pearsall all off season. I have Jordan Mason, but they traded Jordan Mason to the Vikings. Who was the guy that came in right after that? They drafted him last year. He was actually really good. I just feel like I'm missing too many, or I'm thinking about too many players in my head. Isaac Grendo. Thank you so much. So they have Isaac Grendo, who was a good player, but even in college was not an every down player. So I feel like he's more rotational. So right now they have Chris McCaffrey and Isaac Grendo and like Patrick Taylor, but they were down like 6 running backs last year and still barely gave the ball to Patrick Taylor. I think he had like 2 carries and they just stopped running the ball at some point. So they definitely are going to draft a running back. Mr. Corey says Cam Scattyboo. There's definitely a lot of talent at the running back position. I'm not opposed to going running back. Obviously, you need to bolster up that offensive line, or else doesn't matter how good your defense is, doesn't matter how good your running back is, doesn't matter what, because we don't want Purdy to get injured, especially if the 49ers do end up extending him. So I'm reading more comments. I think this is about Sanders. I think his dad's name is actually working against him. And I agree. And his dad has came out and like said too much. Like his dad was like, my son's going to go top 5. And like, I actually, and who knows what his interviews are like behind closed doors. But every time I've heard him talk in interviews, he comes off as pretty humble, like confident, when they ask him if he believes in himself, he says yes and talks with confidence, but he's never came off like arrogant to me. But then if you listen to his dad talk, his dad is like boasting about him. And I think it might be, I don't know, NFL teams, they want players to be, answer to them. They don't want the player to be bigger than the team, which I understand, but once again, I'm going to move off of talking about Sanders, but Mr. Corey, I agree with you on this comment. 49ers might need to consider trading up if Amos, Green, Alexander, and keep dropping. Yeah, I'm surprised about Alexander. I thought he was a guy that maybe the 49ers would get with pick 43. Green has a ton of personal off the field issues. So I think that's why he was automatically taken off of a lot of boards. And I think one of the things is it rhymes with schmexual assault. I don't know if I'm allowed to say certain things on here. And I think he took a lot of accountability for it publicly, but the rumors are that then he went in and had interviews about it and was kind of deflecting, and that might have turned off some teams. If you're talking about Mike Green, that's what I heard other people saying. I have no idea. But I think that's why he's fallen so much, because he's a good player. Big Mike says, let's go. Hey, Big Mike, thanks for joining. I want to check. Jonathan Pearman says, let's go. Second team All-American. I talked about that. Yeah, very excited about these first two picks. Amos just got drafted to the Commanders. Wow. See, things happen fast. Oh, yeah. Okay, let's see. What pick are they on? 12 minutes ago, they were on 60, so that's not where they are now. Trey Amos, 61. Okay, so they're still kind of far from 75, which is where the 49ers are. Someone says who's this guy? If I'm Fred Warner, I'm scared right now. Who's this guy? Why is he scared? I'm confused. Is this Alfred Collins? I don't want to get my stream taken down. I don't think I'm allowed to play music. At pick 60, the Broncos selected RJ Harvey. 3 of the AFC West teams have drafted running backs in the first 2 rounds. Raiders, Ashton Genty, Chargers, Hampton, Broncos, RJ Harvey. What's up with the Chargers? The Chargers have an excellent quarterback who can actually throw it, and they're trying to win in the same way the Eagles do, which is fine. I mean, the Eagles just won the Super Bowl, so it's not a bad strategy to have great trenches and a running back. But to me, that's more what you do when you have a quarterback that can't throw the hell out of the ball. There's been some trades that have been made. I thought the Bills, they traded up earlier. I felt like that trade was they didn't give up too many assets. The Jaguars trade from yesterday, I think, was insane. I know Travis Hunter is supposed to be an excellent player, but Mr. Corey says, why would Warner be scared Collins will eat up blocks for him? I have no idea. I couldn't figure it out, and I clicked on it, but it was like an edit. So I just decided to. I want to get all the information I can. So I wanted to click. I saw Fred Warner's name, and I wanted to read it. But let's see. Here we go. We just got a new article from SI. The 49ers are 2 for 2 so far in the NFL draft. They just took Texas defensive tackle Alfred Collins in round 2 with the 43rd pick. Dyslexic, Jesus. Yesterday, they took defensive end Malik Williams in round 1 with 11th pick. Both of these players will start from day 1 and instantly improve the 49ers defense, particularly against the run. That's what I was saying. That's why I like the pick yesterday, even though he's definitely a more raw prospect, and not talking about Alfred Collins now, talking about Malik Williams. I've had some time sleep on it. I really, really like this pick, a round 1 pick. I know that he's more raw and younger, but his ability to stop the run is automatically going to improve. So his floor is automatically a benefit, and his ceiling is way higher than that. And I'm betting with Chris Kuzaric, Nick Bosa, and Robert Saleh that he's going to, not stay at his bottom level 20-year-old floor. So I think both picks are great. Collins is 6'6", 332 pounds. NFL.com compares him to Javon Kinlaw. I said that. I read that. Unfortunately for the 49ers, Kinlaw had a knee injury when they drafted him, never fully healthy. Collins is different. Like I said, Collins has played in a ton of games, fully healthy, and he's just missed 3 games throughout his entire college career. So he's durable, and he's a fantastic fit for the 49ers defensive front. The wide nine moves defensive ends outside the tight end and exposes the defense's tackles to constant double teams when defending the run. That's why you need bigger body guys. I love this. Israel says, who would you pick in the next round? The next round or like with pick 75? Because pick 75 is still obviously this round. I don't know. I think like Alexander and those guys are going to be gone. I would probably, if Grant is still available at tackle, I might go there. Interior D lineman Norman Lott. He's pretty good. I'd either go cornerback. There's Thomas. I thought Thomas was pretty good. Yeah, pick 75. I'm looking at Grant at tackle, to be honest, but I know earlier someone said that you don't want to reach for an O-line. So maybe I'm too high on him. It's possible. I want them to address the O-line. But if they got, let me see if I have any linebackers written down. I don't. I'm sure I have some. Really quickly, Steph Sanchez, who went to the Senior Bowl and took some notes on Alfred Collins. I stream with her sometimes. She said, Alfred Collins was one of my favorite watches from this draft class. Love this pick. Her notes on him from the Senior Bowl can line up anywhere on the D line. A handful, can absorb and split double teams, which is important in the wide nine, as we just said. Active hands at the line of scrimmage and does a good job at disengaging from blocks. That's interesting because the one downside that we were reading from PFF and Lance Zerman was that he can be slow to disengage from blocks. So interesting that she said that's at least at the Senior Bowl was not something she saw. Maybe he's working on that. Maybe he's working on improving that. Okay, this was a little bit longer than I thought it would be because it was just an instant reaction. But I'll be going live in just a couple, like an hour or less. If the 49ers trade up, I will go live right when they do that. But if they pick 75, I'll go live for that. I'd be okay with a guard, an interior O-lineman, a tackle if Grant is available. Linebacker is a position of need because they have Fred Warner and D Winters, but D Winters has struggled with health. Plus, I don't know if he's as physical of a player as Dre Greenlaw. Fred Warner's biggest skill set is the fact that he can keep up with wide receivers. He's a super, super fast linebacker, and obviously extremely, extremely intelligent, but he's not as hard of a hitter as a guy like Dre Greenlaw was. Dre Greenlaw was like a line pusher, a guy who was going to just enforce his will on you. And I'm not trying to be down on Fred Warner. I think he's literally one, if not the best player on the team, and the best linebacker in the NFL. So love Fred Warner, but they need more than one. And I don't know if I'm confident that D Winters is that guy. I think D Winters might be more of a third, like a rotational guy. Azeez Al-Shaair was a guy who was fantastic, and he was a third. So I wouldn't be opposed for them drafting a linebacker. Although I do remember last year, I think Kyle talked in the draft after his draft, and he said that he thought linebackers took a couple years to transition from college to the NFL, and I think they need immediate starters, which is why I like these first 2 picks, is I do think they're immediate starters. So I don't want them to go running back with pick 75. If they go running back with their very last pick of today, but I think they should wait till the 4th round. I think they should wait till tomorrow morning to go running back. So maybe a pass catcher, but I'm looking more at O-line, interior D-line. I did have a guy written down. Oh, Norman Lott. Is Alexander gone? They might want to pick up or trade up to get him. Although I don't know if it's a bit redundant. those are the guys and the positions that I'm looking at. If you guys haven't already, please give me a like, give me a subscribe. Give me a like and subscribe. Give me a comment if you want. Let me know. Grade this pick. I give it an A. I hope I'm not being like overly fan optimistic. I'm trying to be realistic too, but I like the first two picks. Anyone care to do a guess on who the last player pick? Like last player in the draft, like Brock Purdy, or last player that the 49ers pick? I don't know. But hi, Anthony. I hope you like and subscribe. And I'll be going live again soon. Love you guys so much. I don't think my dad joined this one. What the heck? If you listen to this later, Daddy, I love you. Give me a like, give me a subscribe, and I'll be going live very soon when the 49ers draft next. Thanks.